Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into Richard Branson's Losing My Virginity.
Yeah, really getting into how he built the whole Virgin Empire.
Exactly, from like student magazines to airlines. It's pretty wild.
It is, and what stood out to me was just how much of his success was kind of set up by his childhood.
Oh, absolutely. The book starts with some pretty crazy stories.
Yeah.
Like imagine being sent on a 50-mile bike ride at age 11 with no direction.
I know, right? Most kids at that age can't even go past the end of the block.
And not just that, he almost drowned trying to win a bet with his aunt.
Oh, wow.
And then his dad jumps in thinking he's in trouble.
What a family, huh?
Talk about a family that embraces adventure.
Definitely. And you know what's interesting is even as a kid, Branson had that drive to push himself. It wasn't just being reckless. It was more like early ambition.
Right.
A taste for high stakes, you know?
Definitely. And that keeps going into his school years. I mean, we know Branson struggled academically a bit because of dyslexia.
Yeah.
But he doesn't let that stop him. He creates Student Magazine, and it's a platform for pop culture and all the important issues of the day.
It's amazing how he turned what some might see as a weakness into a strength.
Totally. And his entrepreneurial spirit is already showing through. He was already using clever tactics to get advertisers even before the magazine was out.
Oh, yeah. Tell them their competitors were already on board.
Classic Branson.
Classic Branson.
So Student becomes his launch pad into business, and then comes Virgin Mail Order.
That's where he really shows that knack for seeing what people need but don't have.
Right. Everyone loves music, but record stores are expensive.
Exactly. So Virgin swoops in with discounted records delivered right to you.
Straight to your door.
And the best part, they got paid up front.
So smart. Talk about a smart financial move.
Brilliant.
But of course, he doesn't stop there. He looks at the recording industry, all these stuffy studios.
Yeah.
And he thinks, let's shake things up. Creates a relaxed studio at the Virgin Manor, attracts artists like Mike Oldfield. Tubular Bells becomes a massive hit.
Huge moment for Virgin Records.
Absolutely.
He changed the game by putting the artists first. You know, happy musicians make good music.
Definitely. And the fans loved it.
They did.
And then there are the Sex Pistols.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a roller coaster. Signing them was lawsuits, controversy, even a linguist reverend defending their album title in court.
That's so Branson.
Yeah.
You know, willing to court little controversy. It was risky, but it paid off.
In that court case, that's a whole other deep dive right there.
Absolutely.
But speaking of wild moves, let's talk about Necker Island.
Yeah.
Branson ends up owning this private island
Amazing.
for a tiny fraction of the asking price. Lowballed the owner by millions, somehow pulled it off.
That's just pure Branson audacity. You know, seeing an opportunity and going for it, no hesitation.
It's incredible. He's dodging disaster as a kid and then outsmarting these big businessmen. He always seems to land on his feet.
There's definitely a theme here. From his upbringing, his dyslexia, even those near-death experiences, it's like he turns every challenge into fuel.
It makes you wonder what he'll do next. He conquers music, gets a private island. Where do you go from there?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. We've got to talk about how he took on the airline industry.
Oh, yeah. One of the most competitive industries out there.
Exactly. I mean, launching Virgin Atlantic Airways, it was massive. Going up against giants like British Airways.
Taking a rowboat into a hurricane. The book talks about engine explosions near bankruptcy.
I know.
Relentless competition from British Airways. I mean, how did he even survive?
It's that Branson tenacity, you know? Never giving up. It's a lesson in how to handle a crisis and keep going.
And he seems to thrive under pressure.
Yeah.
It's like those close calls as a kid got him ready for the crazy world of business.
It's possible. And you have to remember, back then, our airlines were really protective of their routes and their market share. Branson was disrupting everything, and they did not like it.
They pushed back hard.
They did.
It's like that saying, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. But even with Virgin Atlantic taking off, he doesn't stop there.
No.
He decides to go after world records, sailing across the Atlantic, flying a hot air balloon over the Pacific.
This is where we see that adventurous side of him pushing those human limits.
Yeah.
Those expeditions weren't just for fun, though.
Right.
They were about proving what's possible.
It's like he had to keep testing himself, finding new ways to see what he could do.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all about him either. He used his resources to help others, like rescuing hostages from Baghdad during the Kuwait War.
That was incredible. Putting himself at risk to negotiate their release. It shows that success can be a force for good.
It's really inspiring to see that side of him. But going back to British Airways, things got pretty nasty.
They did.
Full-on smear campaign against Virgin. even hacking into their database.
That's just the ugly side of competition. Sometimes people will do anything to win, but Branson fought back.
And he didn't just fight back, he won. Took him to court, exposed everything.
And got a public apology from British Airways.
Talk about David and Goliath.
It was huge. It proved that even the biggest companies can be held accountable. It was a win for everyone who's ever been pushed around by someone bigger.
Reading about that fight, it's empowering.
Right.
If Branson can take on British Airways and win, what can't we do?
It's inspiring, right?
So we've seen his adventures, his rise in music, his crazy escapades, and his fight for fairness. What's the big takeaway from all this? What can we learn from Branson's life?
I think there are a few key lessons. The first is to embrace challenges. When things go wrong, don't give up. See it as a chance to grow.
He never let failure stop him.
Never. He used it to make him stronger. And the second thing is, success isn't just about making money.
Right.
It's about making a difference. It's about doing good, whether it's helping others or changing an industry for the better.
It's a really important perspective, especially these days when everyone seems to focus on money and power.
Yeah. And lastly, Branson shows us the power of thinking big. Don't be afraid to dream. Don't let anyone tell you your goals are too big.
It's about finding that Branson confidence, that willingness to take risks. Like he's saying, hey, go out there and do something amazing.
Right. And it doesn't have to be these huge things. Branson's approach can apply to anything.
So how can people listening actually use this in their lives?
I think it starts with figuring out what you really love.
Oh.
What are you passionate about? What would you do even if you weren't getting paid for it?
The stuff that makes you jump out of bed in the morning.
Exactly. And once you know what that is, don't be afraid to go after it with everything you've got.
Don't let the challenges stop you.
Yeah. Learn from the setbacks and don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too big.
It's like finding that inner Branson, that confidence to take a risk.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to start with something huge.
Right.
Branson's first thing was that student magazine.
It wasn't like he was trying to take over the world right away.
It was about taking that first step and then building on it.
Those little victories that build up your confidence.
And lead to bigger things. And as you go, don't forget to give back. Use your success to make a positive impact. Help others mentor someone. Be a force for good in your community.
It's about realizing success isn't just about you. It's about being part of something bigger.
So bringing it all back to Branson, I think the message is this. Don't be afraid to dream big. Embrace challenges and use your success to make a difference.
You might not end up with your own private island,
Right.
but you'll definitely create a life that's meaningful and exciting.
I love that. That's a perfect way to put it.
Branson's story is all about being bold, being resilient, and having a little bit of that Branson charm. He really shows what it means to do things your own way.
And for everyone listening, I think the takeaway is this. Don't let fear hold you back. Go after your passions, challenge the way things are done, and make the world a better place. Who knows what incredible things you might achieve?
That's fantastic advice. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Richard Branson. We hope you're leaving feeling inspired and ready to take on anything. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.